1. Scott Steiner and Jeff Jarrett. Steiner and Jarrett became friends in WCW, later joining TNA. Steiner also showed up at Global Force Wrestling, Jarrett's second wrestling company. 2. Dennis Rodman and Hulk Hogan. While Dennis Rodman is quite a legend when it comes to basketball, as a member of the New World Order, he wasn't good at all. The leader of the New World Order was Hulk Hogan, who was also his friend. 3. Eric Bischoff and Diamond Dallas Page. Eric Bischoff was best friends with Page, and some would say that DDP got the title because of this friendship. Nonetheless, we all know he was the second most talented, next to Steve Austin in 1997. 4. Raven and Perry Saturn. Their friendship started in the ECW and continued in WCW, winning the tag titles together. The coolest thing is that Saturn once said he could always count on Raven and that they've been best friends for many years. 5. Trish Stratus and Lita. Patricia Strategies or Trish Stratus and Amy Dumas or Lita were rivals in the beginning. However, outside the world of WWE, they somehow made it into a friendship. Dumas is even the godmother of Strategia's son. 6. Kevin Nash and Bret Hart. Kevin and Bret agree that their favorite matches are the ones against each other, and you would see them at events and conventions together. Nash said that Hart was one of the best wrestling talents ever in WCW. 7. Jeff Jarrett and Vince Russo. These two became friends in WWE and continued as they went to WCW. Later, Jarrett put Russo on the booking job in TNA, which unfortunately was a bad move. 8. Diamond Dallas Page and Kevin Nash. One thing is true, Kevin Nash surely has a lot of friends out there and many of them are famous wrestlers. Diamond Dallas Page is one of them, being his buddy in the Insiders tag team. Nash was best friends with Scott, so together with Page they turned their friend's life around. 9. Scott Hall and Curt Hennig. With the help of Hennig, Hall broke into the wrestling business. The two teamed up in Nawa, and Hall is thankful to Hennig for all the tips he learned from his friend. However, Hall was also the brain inside and outside the ring, together making the perfect team. 10. Eric Bischoff and The Cat. Ernest Miller, The Cat, was a karate master, and considering that Eric Bischoff also loved karate and had black belts, they became best friends. The Cat agreed to wrestle, but had no idea how different it was from karate. Although he made it to WWE, he got eliminated easily in the 2004 Royal Rumble. Last we heard about him was when Bischoff did an interview, mentioning The Cat appearing in the movie The Wrestler. 11. Kevin Nash and Scott Steiner. Scott Steiner evolved from wrestling in a tag team to a top 5 heel. Both from Michigan, and also working out at the same gym, Nash and Scott became friends. Although at first sight Nash thought Scott to be a frightening man. The two then went to TNA to form Main Event Mafia. 12. Batista and Titus. ONeil. While Batista usually talks bad about many wrestlers, he does defend Titus O'Neil, claiming that O'Neil should be used more. When the latter was suspended in 2016, Batista was outraged. 13. Scott Hall and Diamond Dallas Page. Scott Hall is thankful for all the help Page offered during his darkest hours. With Page's help, Hall was again recognized by the WWE and joined the Hall of Fame in 2014. Page also helped out Jake Roberts, who was in a much worse condition than Hall, and also joined the WWE Hall of Fame in 2014. 14. Vince Russo and Kevin Nash. Nash seems to like Russo, although not many would want to be friends with him. He even showed up on Russo's podcast talking about his childhood years. In an interview, he revealed that Russo didn't deserve to be blamed for the fall of WCW, adding that it was only the fault of talent. 15. Randy Orton and Chris Jericho. Another best friend Randy Orton had was none other than Chris Jericho. When Orton was hurt during the violent match at SummerSlam 2016, Jericho said that Orton was his close friend and had to step in. Orton's concussion ended up with 10 staples in his head after the match. 16. Conan and Disco Inferno. Disco Inferno was the hilarious wrestler at WCW that still keeps a tight friendship with Conan, appearing at his Keepin' It 100 podcast. The two talk about the state of WWE as we know it now, more often criticizing episodes of Raw. 17. Eric Bischoff and Hulk Hogan. Together, the two friends went from the WWE to WCW in the early 90s, planning to take over the wrestling world. After all those years, Hogan still shows up on Bischoff's podcast. 18. Brock Lesnar and Shelton Benjamin. Although a great villain, Brock Lesnar's tough shell was broken by Shelton Benjamin. They first met in college and have been close friends ever since. Benjamin is now the godfather of B. Lesnar's two oldest children. 19. Randy Orton and Triple H. Back in 2002, Randy Orton debuted in WWE and not just worked with Triple H but also learned a lot from him. Randy's success after being paired with Triple H grew bigger and bigger. Orton is also best friends with this wrestler at number 15. 28. Ultimate Warrior and Rob Van Dam. The Ultimate Warrior and Rob Van Dam did not begin their bonding at the start of their wrestling careers. Actually, it was the need of the Ultimate Warrior for professional training that made him contact Van Dam. He chose the best